From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, and it's great to be here. I'm thrilled to be back in the home of a great place. I love Florida. We love Florida. With all of the very proud, great American patriots of the villages. Are we happy with the villages? We like the villages. Now, you know, I shouldn't be here. There was just an attempt. I won't use the word, an attempt, they say, on my life. I should be indoors at a secure facility where I can quietly, beautifully, and safely play out my term, destroying everything that comes in our way, like bad countries that want to get nuclear weapons. We'll take care of them. So they want me to be in a secure place. I said, what's more secure than the villages? Here we go. No. I heard the seniors were waiting at the villages, and there's no way we got like 97% of the vote. Remember all those frauds? They said, whoa. Remember Sleepy Joe and Kamala? They came up, oh, we love you more than Trump. And you said, no, you don't. You don't love us more. You're a bunch of phony bastards. But as you know, this is the single largest community of seniors anywhere in the world, and frankly, it's the largest crowd you've ever had assembled. You know, it's very interesting. They built this, but when I first started, they didn't have this. We had a little tiny room, so we went outside. We had a tremendous crowd, but I don't know if you see what's going on. They have an overflow room that's bigger than this. Why the hell didn't I go there to start off with? What's going on? And then they have outside, they have thousands and thousands of people, and we love them all. We love them all. So we're here to celebrate a policy that benefits every American senior all across this land, and it's called No Tax on Social Security. It's done. It's done. You know, I took a poll at one of the events. I said no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, or no tax on Social Security, all of them. So let's do it now. Let's do another poll. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax. So what you do is you're going to cheer for the one you like the most of the three, all right? No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. no tax on Social Security. I'm telling you, Dr. Phil, that's the one they like. Is Social Security. I thought that was maybe a sleeper. This is more than a sleeper. No, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. That's what we like, right? So our great, big, beautiful bill was the largest tax cut in American history. And as a result, more than 51 million American seniors now pay a federal tax rate of 0. 0. And this isn't talk. This isn't, I'm going to get it for you. Look, these guys up here, front row Joes, they're all over. I can't get rid of them. What are you, 219? I think they're 219 rallies. They are sick individuals, but we love them. I don't know what the hell they do, but they have money someplace because they do a lot of traveling. Look at the front row Joes. But we provide seniors, and we have a record-setting average tax deduction this year of more than $7,500. Think of that. You know, it's been amazing. And on all of them, people, and I've seen it even on the fake news. Look at all the fake news back there. What? That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fakers. Did you see where they had a study done, and Trump on the evening news gets 93% bad publicity, 93. And yet, I won in a landslide. Now, you know what that means? Well, think of it. 93%. And you know, like with Kamala, she made a bad statement on CBS 60 Minutes, and they had to pay me a lot of money, $38 million. You know what she did? Her statement was so bad the night before the election, it was so bad, that they took another answer that she gave, which was not bad. It wasn't good. It was nothing. And they put it in where she, and we found out they did it. They changed the answers. BBC has me, AI, saying about hate. We hate, we hate. I said, that's not me. They changed my lips. I couldn't even tell myself. I said, I didn't know. This gets very, but think of it, 93% bad stories, only bad. And if it's a good story, they make it bad. You know, you can make anything bad. You could have a baseball team won 21-2, and the writer says they should have won by more. That's where we are. We're winning 25-0, and they say we should be doing more. There's never been a first term of a president, they say, and even the radical left lunatics say it, that's accomplished more than we have. It's never happened. Never happened. But just to finish off, you know, I love the weave, because the weave is great. You go out, Pa, go out. You always have to come back. Someday I won't come back, and they'll say, all right, he's shot. That's it. The weave, I call it, the weave, because you get a lot of stories into one little sentence. But when you have 93% and you win in a landslide, you know what it means? It means that the media has lost total credibility. Nobody believes them. That's what it means. Very simple. But thanks to the massive tax cut, American seniors just received your largest tax refunds of all time, by far. And here in the Sunshine State, we've issued 2.5 million Florida seniors over $13 billion. Now think of that. Now, I don't happen to be a senior. I'm much younger than you. I'm a much younger man than you. Look at you old guys. Wouldn't you like to be my age? It's young, vital, vibrant. No, I'm much, much younger than the people in this room, but I feel I can relate to you anyway. See, now the fake news will go tonight, and they'll say, he's claiming to be younger than the people. You understand? That means more money to visit your grandkids, bigger budget for taking a trip to someplace that you want to go, or extra dinners out with your family. You're going to do a lot. You're going to do a lot. You know what to do with the money. But I saw it recently. People are being interviewed. And yeah, why don't you sit down here? Come on, front row Joe, sit down. Get them all to sit down. You know, it must be good when front row Joes still stand up after 300 or something, whatever the hell. They're still standing. That's pretty good. But it's been an amazing period of time. Our country is hot again. We have a great country again. We're respected as a country again. So these are your golden years, but these are really beyond your golden years. This is the golden age of America. This is where we are. We're in a period of time, and you've lived, and you're going to live a long time longer, but you're going right now through the golden age of America. The crooked Joe Biden people, these are radical left lunatics that almost destroyed our country. I'll tell you what, if we didn't win this election, I believe our country was dead. I don't think it could have sustained the open borders, transgender mutilization of your children. I believe our country, men playing in women's sports, they say that's an 80-20 issue. It's not. It's a 99-1 issue. The mutilization of your children, that's a 99-1 issue. These aren't 80-20. They say that's a 70-30 issue. It's not a 70. It's every one of them and so many others. Frankly, look, they have the worst policy in history, but they stick together. Republicans have to stick together. If we stick together, we can't be, because we have great policy, common sense policy. Under crooked Joe Biden, American seniors were ravaged by the worst inflation in the history of our country, devastating the budget, senior citizens. You know, when I say the history of our country, I'm always criticized because they correct me. They say it was 48 years. It wasn't history. It was 48. And I think that sounds pretty bad, too. I actually think 48 years, it sounds more specific. It actually is better. So they say the worst inflation in 48 years. I say the history of our country. But you had the worst inflation we've ever seen. Prices soared. Health care costs skyrocketed as Biden and the radical left Democrats in Congress allowed 25 million illegal aliens to pour into our country. This was an invasion of our country. Tell them to turn up the microphone, will you, please? Turn up the mic. You know, I hate it. You pay these guys a lot of money, and then you get up and the mic isn't on properly. And then they want their money, and I don't believe in paying people to do a bad job. I only like to pay people. I pay early. And I'm screaming my ass off because the mic is no good. Turn the mic up, please. Amazing. But all of that changed the day I took the oath of office on January 20th, 2025. Under the Trump administration, we're standing up for American seniors like no president has ever stood up before. And just as I promised, we're strongly protecting Social Security and Medicare, and we always will. We have a man here who knows more about Medicaid, Medicare, medical crap than any human being. Where's Dr. Oz? Where the hell are you? Stand up. He's great. It's the most boring trip I've ever made. He's telling me about Medicare, Medicaid. All I want to do is take care of you. I don't care. I said, you work out the details, but I did say give them the max. That's all I care about. Give them whatever the hell the max is. But Oz has been great. You have been great. And Bobby's been great. He's a little different. Do you agree? We needed somebody a little different, and we got him in Bobby Kennedy, right? But they work together. And it's great. You know, I brought somebody else with me. He's central casting for a Treasury Secretary. If you're casting a movie, look at them. They're already excited. You know, a lot of people didn't know him. He was very successful, great success, actually, but people didn't know him. Now he walks down the street and people are asking for his autograph. It's crazy. Scott, stand up, please. Scott Bassett. They wanted to be here. You know, I gave him an option. I said, I can meet you guys later. No, you're going to the villages. We want to be with you, so it's sort of cool. We got a lot of celebrities here, actually. But together with the Republicans in Congress, we've removed nearly 300,000 illegal aliens from the Social Security roll. And we've removed more than 100,000 migrants from Medicare eligibility, 100,000, and the number's going up. What we're really doing is saving Social Security because it was so rife with fraud, and the Democrats didn't care. They couldn't care less. All they care about is Trump derangement syndrome. They are sick. They are lunatics. We're dealing with lunatics. You can do, but I've learned, you know, with time, I've learned, if I want something, I go the opposite. In other words, if I want the wall, I say, I will not, under any circumstances, build the wall. And they give me all the money I want. True, just go the opposite. They're crazy. They're crazy. It actually is a disease. I think they're going to register it next week, Trump derangement. Trump derangement syndrome. They're going to, TDS, it's commonly known as TDS. This man has an incurable case of TDS. To further stop Medicare and Medicaid from being looted by criminals and thugs, we've launched a war on fraud. You've been watching it in the papers. We're all over Minnesota, California, all over the place. They're taking down hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of people a week and a day. It's led by great Vice President J.D. Vance. He's doing a great job. I said, J.D., I want that job. I want to do it as president. They said, you better, let's do a little delegation, please. But J.D.'s done a great job. Thousands and thousands of people it's a fraud. I mean, look at the wonderful country. It's a beautiful country. You should try it sometime. Somalia, it's a beautiful place. It's got no government. It's got no military. It's got no anything. It's got one thing that's really strong, crime. It's got a lot of crime. They have no police. All they do is run around shooting each other. It's filthy dirty, disgusting dirty. It's a horrible place. They come here, and Ilhan Omar, you ever hear of her? She heads it. And think of it. They have nothing but crime, poverty, pollution. Everything is horrible over there. Nothing good. They say it's the worst country anywhere in the world, that we got some beauties out there, but it's the worst. And then she comes here from Somalia, and she tells us how to run the United States of America. She says, the Constitution gives me certain rights, and I demand that I be given these rights. Get the hell out, what a phony. And then she married a brother to come in. I don't know, you know, you're not. But I would imagine they're looking at her. I have nothing to do with it. I would imagine. Of course I have nothing to do. I have nothing, but I believe she married her brother, which is totally illegal. Although it's a lovely couple, actually, but it's a little bit on the illegal side. Darling, I love you very much. Good night, brother. Let's go to bed. Good night. Isn't she despicable? I can't stand watching her. I can't stand. Did you see last month, she accidentally checked the wrong box. It said she was worth $38 million. And law enforcement came after her for that. And then all of a sudden, she was worth less than $80,000. And she said it was accounting. It was an accounting error. That was not a very good accountant, was it? Huh? No, their whole life is based on fraud and a scam. The whole thing is a scam, and we ought to get those people the hell out of our country. To get better care to our seniors much more quickly, my administration has dramatically accelerated Medicare prior authorizations, a big deal. That's what used to take days and weeks and months to get, and now you're getting it done in a matter of minutes. Really, I mean, unbelievable job you've done. Minutes. And we have a big search for fraud. Very little. You know, when people get arrested all over Minnesota, all over California, wait till you see what we're coming up with in California. Gavin Newsom is not good. But he gave the worst interview a month ago. Did you see it? Where he said he was incompetent, he can't read, he can't write, he can't do it. He said he's horrible for testing. We should give him a cognitive test. I took 3 of them, aced all of them, by the way. You know, I'm the only president to take a cognitive test, because I don't think Obama could pass it. I don't. Didn't he get into Harvard with a C average? I don't know. What's that? I don't think he could pass it. I don't think, well, Biden isn't. Give me a break. You know, the first question is very easy. It's a lion, a giraffe, a bear, and a shark. They say, which one is the bear? And everybody says, oh, 30 questions. Everyone says, very standard. It's a very standard test, but very tough. Around those last 10 questions, not too many people, even in this very room, unlike Newsom, I'll say, this room of geniuses. He said, I'm in a room of dumb people. That was not good. That was not good. You know what happened to him after that? It wasn't a pretty, but I'm in a room of brilliant people, but a lot of you wouldn't have been able to answer those 10 questions. And when I got the score in the test, the doctor said, wow, I've never seen, you know, you have 5 doctors lined up. They're all over the place. I said, should I take it? You know, I've had different phases. They've said, he's a mad genius. I didn't mind that too much. Then they said, he's a horrible human being. I don't like that much. Then they said, he's really not a smart person at all. I really hated that. So I took a cognitive test, and I said to the doctor, first doctor is Dr. Ronnie. You know Doc Ronnie. We all love Doc Ronnie. But he had a whole team of doctors at Walter Reed, a great place. I said, so should I do it? He said, well, it's a tough exam, actually. You know, those last 20 questions, they get tough. A lot of people can't do them. I said, well, what do you think? He said, well, if you do it, they're going to find out, because it's essentially a public, you know, it's a military hospital. If you do badly, they're going to find out, and it won't be pleasant. I said, well, I do well on things, so let's do it. And I got everyone right. And these are tough questions. These are tough questions, you know. They say, take a number, any number. Okay, I'll take 99. Multiply times 9, okay? Divide it by 3, good. Add 4,293, that's good. Divide by 2. Subtract 93. Divide by 9. What is your answer? Now, they go a little slower than that, but not much. I don't want to waste a lot of time. But there aren't a lot of people that get it right. I got it right. You know, it was actually longer and more complex than that. But no, it's a tough test, so I took it. And then, everyone said, all right, good, he's smart. He's smart. It's not really smart. It's like, you know what we are, really? We have common sense. We're people with common sense, right? We like strong borders. We don't like open borders for the world to pour into our country, right? From prisons all over the Congo, all over South America. The Congo, I tell you what, the Congo, they just used to think that we were just an open cesspool where they take all their prisoners and dump them into our country. Parts of South America, the same thing. It's terrible. So, as you know, we've done a fantastic job. But I just felt, and I put out yesterday a statement, I think anybody running for president or vice president should be forced to take a cognitive examination. Right? I mean, you get a guy, he gets in, he's got a good line of crap, he gets in, and all of a sudden you're stuck with a man who's a moron. You know, this is not good. This is not good. We went through 4 years of it. It's not a good situation. But we also dramatically increased coverage for outpatient clinical care known as site-neutral payments, stopping seniors from being ripped off by billions of dollars of outrageous fees that they charge, billions and billions of dollars, right? Oz. And on top of these major Medicare improvements, I'm pleased to report today that we have authorized $210 million in rural health care funding for the great state of Florida. 210. We're taking some of the money that they scammed. You know, we're catching billions of dollars, billions. Minnesota, it's like It's like, you ever hear the expression, shooting fish in a barrel? It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And that governor and that attorney general are so crooked. It's so horrible. It's so horrible. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, stranger things have happened, I will tell you. By the way, and our attorney general is doing a very good job, isn't he? Todd Blanche, he's doing a very good job. A lot of action. There's a lot of pent-up action. Perhaps most importantly for our great seniors, I've secured the largest reduction in drug prices in American history. You say it. Under my most favored nation agreements, we are delivering you the record-setting discounts with price differences of 400%, 500%, and 600, 700, and even sometimes 800% reductions. Now, some people would say it's 80, 90, 70. It depends on the way you phrase the statement. But it could be 500, 600%. It could be 90%. It doesn't matter. We've gotten you the largest reductions in history, the largest reductions. We were the most overpriced. We had the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world, and now we have the lowest prices anywhere in the world. That's all you have to know. And to get that, because Oz said to me, it's going to be very tough. The drug companies are going to be bad, but we had to get the approval of other nations. As an example, I talk about the fat drug. The fat drug, a friend of mine who's extremely fat and very wealthy and very obnoxious. He's a very unattractive individual, actually. But he's extremely smart, very, very successful. He's a highly neurotic person, semi-controlled. I would say, usually I like to say I like a neurotic person, but it has to be controlled. This guy's only semi, but he's in London, and he calls me, he goes, President, in New York, I'm paying like $87 for the fat drug. He called it the fat shot. I've given it that name, the fat shot. And I said, well, it's not working too well for you. But he said, I pay $87 in London. In New York, I'm paying like $1,300. So I'm paying $1,300 and $87. What's that all about? And other people would call me the same, but he made a big imprint because he's a very smart guy. He said, you know what, I had it traced. It's made in the same factory. It's made by the same company. Everything's the same except the price. One's $87 and one's $1,300. He said, this is ridiculous. And it did hit me the right way. And we went to town, didn't we, Oz? We went to town. And we shamed the drug prices because they were, for years, said, well, it's research and development. I said, well, it's research and development for them also, right? But we got them. They weren't easy, but we got all of them lined up. But they said it didn't matter. The reason we got them because they said we'd never get the other countries. We had to get approval of the other countries where they'd have to double their prices and triple their prices because we come way down, they go up a little bit because the world is bigger than us, right? So they go up a little bit. So I'd call up, like, as an example, France. I spoke with Macron, right? You know Macron, he's a wonderful guy, president of the country, nice guy. So I say, Emmanuel, your drug prices are a tiny fraction of ours. We can't have that. We're going to have to raise it. No, Donald, I will not do that. No, you will do it, Emmanuel. No, you'll do it. 100% you're going to do it. No, I will not do it. And this went on for about 2 minutes. I'm saying you will. He's saying he won't. So most people would say he won't do it. Then I said to him, Emmanuel, if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 250% tariff on all wines and champagnes that you ship into our country. And he said, Donald, how dare you? You should not do that. You cannot do that. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. Okay, you have a deal. That was it. And I told Oz couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. And we had the same thing with Germany. We had the same thing with the other countries. I said, look, you're not going to do it. We're going to tariff the hell out of you at double the number that you're talking about. And they all agreed. Every one of those countries agreed. And now you have the lowest drug prices anywhere in the world from the highest. And that alone should win us the midterms. But, you know, the fake news doesn't like to write about it. They don't even like, I noticed a couple of the cameras went off when I was talking about it. When I'm getting to a really juicy subject, to me, that's a juicy, think of it. I mean, you talk about healthcare, it's all around medicines and everything else. And Byron, how big a deal is that, right? By the way, this guy's going to be a great governor. Okay. Going to be great. Ag commissioner, you just stand up. What a job he's doing. What a job he's doing. My ag commissioner, who I endorsed a long time. So I just want to thank you all. You guys are doing a great job. Byron, you're going to be fantastic. We have somebody named Ashley who's very respected. Will you please stand up? Senator, our great senator. I suppose you're all leading like a lot. But remember, make it too big to rig. You got to go out and vote. Don't assume anything, you know. We did great in the second election. It was a rigged election, but we did great. And I said, well, I had the ultimate poll because we won the second election by a lot. So that's a good poll. So we did it again. And I said, too big to rig. You got to make it too big. They showed me leading by a lot. I said, don't be fooled. Just go out and vote because they are cheaters. They cheat like hell. But all of you have to do, and really what you want to do is Trump, and I didn't name it. This was named by Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Oz. I did not name it. Is that right? I said, what is that? TrumpRx.gov, okay? I said, everyone thinks I put my name on it. I don't think I'm going to put my name on medical things. I mean, you know, medical things can be very dangerous to have your name on, to be honest with you. But it's setting, I guess, records from what I understand. There's never been anything like it. So TrumpRx.gov, go to it and buy your medicines for very little money. Very little money, difference. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I wish the press would talk about it, but the word is out, and it doesn't probably matter that much. The word is out. They don't want to talk about, they only want to talk about the bad, but this is really something that's special. I'm very proud of it. Today, I'm thrilled to announce that starting on July 1st, we will also provide Medicare patients with the coverage for weight loss drugs like Ozempic, Zepbound, Wegovy. It will be available for $50 a month. $50. Wow. Now think of that, $50 a month. So if it was $1,300, now it's $50, and the $1,300 doesn't cover a whole month. So it's really even more than that. So it's now down to $50. So that's where you get it. And also, and you remember when I cut insulin and I got it down to $25 insulin, it was $2,000. And that was before this. That was before this. I'm so glad you mentioned insulin. You know, when I got insulin done, it was at the end of my term and I got it done, but it doesn't kick in statutorily for 2 years. And I said, I better win the election. This is going into the second election because what a job I did. And, you know, insulin was at like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I got it to $25, but it kicked in about a year and a half, 2 years later. Statutorily, you had to wait a period of time and all of that nonsense. So I said, boy, I better win because if I don't, some guy is going to take credit for something that I did that they could have never done. Lo and behold, the election was rigged. And I saw Biden a year later standing up there saying, I did a great job on insulin. He doesn't even know what the hell, he had no idea. And I was standing there seething. I was watching television. You know what it is to seethe? I seethe a lot. But this is one of the times I was seething. Oz knows that. I was so angry. I said, I did it, and I didn't get credit for it. We did a lot of things we didn't get credit for, but I guess I did because here I am, I'm president. I guess I did. Not only are we taking care of your physical health, we're also taking care of the financial health of our seniors. As you have probably seen, the 401ks and retirement accounts of millions of American seniors are skyrocketing like never before. You know, we're in a war because I think you would agree we cannot let lunatics have a nuclear weapon. Do you agree? Whoa. Because if you read the fake polls and things, it says, well, it's only a 20% or 25. It's nonsense. Look at this. I'm talking about all these things you're getting, and you stand up when I talk about you can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. We can't. But I did something that was, I don't know, foolish, brave, but it was smart. I would do it again, but I thought the numbers would be much worse. I thought the stock market would go down much more. I thought the oil prices would go up much more. I said, but we have no choice. Whether it does or doesn't, I have to do what's right. We can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So I called in Scott Bassett and all of my people, mostly my financial people, and I said, all right, folks, congratulations. We just hit the highest price in the history of the stock market. So I said the Dow would never hit 50 during my 4 years because it was too much of a raise. They thought 6, 7 years out, maybe it could hit 50,000. They said the S&P could never hit 7,000, right, Scott? That would be even more unlikely. Maybe at the end of the 4th year, but probably not. It would be 5, 6 years out. And we hit 50,000 on the Dow before the end of my first year. We hit 7,000 on the S&P before the end of my first year. The stock market is rocking and rolling. Your 401ks are at the highest they've ever been. I don't know how the hell you could be doing badly. But your 401ks are setting records. I have people coming up to me and saying, you've made me a hero to my wife. You've made me a hero. I've had numerous policemen. I had one guy from years ago because I did the same thing. We had the greatest financial markets in the history of our country in my first term. We're blowing it away now. We're blowing everything away. There's never been a country this successful in that sense before. But now I said, okay, you ever do this? Well, you're doing so well. I said, so we just set every record. We have the highest stock market in history. We have things that just go. And by the way, there are more jobs today in our country than at any time in the history of our country by far, right? So, but we have to think a little long term. And I said to Scott and Howard and all of the people that work for me, great people, Jameson Greer, all of them, I called them in and I said, fellas, congratulations. We have the highest stock market we've ever had. Everyone's doing great. Oil prices were very low. They were 60 and 70. You were buying oil for $2 and even less. Remember, just a couple of months ago, you were at $2 and $1.85. In Iowa, it was $1.85 a gallon. I said, congratulations. Now I'm going to upset the apple cart for you because we have to take a little journey down to a beautiful country known as Iran. And we have to make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. We stopped them with the B-2 bombers. If we didn't do that, we would have had a nuclear weapon. Israel would have been blown to pieces. The Middle East would have been blown to pieces. I think Europe would have been blown to pieces. But under what we were doing, I said, look, we're going to have to make this journey. So it's almost like we built up this great thing, and then I said, now we have to break the eggs a little bit, and we have to go and do it. And the only thing that I'm surprised is that I really thought oil would be, Dr. Oz, we talked about it. I thought oil would be much, much higher than it turned out to be. I mean, it's not low. It's certainly not low. It's going to come crashing down as soon as this war is over, and they're getting decimated. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. They have no radar. They have no leaders. Their leaders are all gone. Very sad, very fine people. But with all of that, I said we have to do it. So I think you understand. But I am surprised. I thought the stock market would go down by 25%. I thought that oil prices would be at much higher than they are right now. They're not nearly as high as I thought. And we're going to, look, we're winning so big. We're winning again. Their Air Force is gone. Their ships are gone. They have a Navy, 159 ships. That's a pretty good Navy. Within the first week, 159 out of 159 ships are right now lying at the bottom of the sea. Their Navy is gone. And we're discussing, I spoke to him today, we're discussing, it's a little hard to figure out who their leaders are, frankly. You know, their leaders are gone. The first set is gone. The second set is gone. Khomeini was gone. And they were pretty evil people. Not pretty evil, they were evil. They killed 42,000 protesters. 42,000! And in a period of 2 weeks, they killed 42,000 protesters. But we had to get this done, and we're really doing well. We're just winning. If it were a fight, they'd stop it. If this were a fight, they'd stop it. You know that expression, it's true. But they're not coming through with the kind of deal that we have to have, and we're going to get this thing done properly. We're not going to leave early and then have the problem arise in 3 more years. Under 4 years of Crooked Joe, I go crooked and sleepy. Which is better, Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Ready? Sleepy Joe. Crooked Joe. I love it. It's free polls. You know, if I went to a pollster, they're all phony. If I went to a pollster, I'd pay $1 million for that question. Give me $1 million, sir. And then they don't go to interview. They just put it down, whatever they want. You know? They say, we scoured the countryside. They didn't scour. They sit in their room watching television. They say, oh, let's give Trump a little bit of an advantage. It makes him happy. Under 4 years of Crooked Joe Biden, the average 401k rose at the rate of $875 a year. Okay, that's something, a little raise. But you know why he rose? Because of me with the 4 years that we had. Because after that, there was nothing. He would have gone down. They took over the momentum of what we created in the first 4 years, which was incredible. Under Trump, so it's $875. Under Trump, the number 875 is the rise, $30,000. So it's 875 versus $30,000. For seniors, that number is $50,000, $60,000, even $70,000 or more a year. That's what you went up. And just yesterday, I signed an executive order that will, for the first time, expand matching IRA contributions to the millions and millions of Americans who lack employer-sponsored plans. Obviously, some of you. And starting next year, every citizen will be able to go to TrumpIRA.gov and sign up for a high-quality, low-cost IRA so that everyone can benefit from the rising stock market. Go sign up. These are all things that people have been talking about for years, right, Scott? They've been talking about them for years. In 4 years, the Biden administration got less than $1 trillion of new investment. So in 4 years, he got much less than 1 trillion people investing in the country, other countries, other people. In my first 11 months, we secured commitments for more than $18 trillion now pouring into our country from all over the globe. Think of that. Think of that. Less than $1 trillion in 4 years, and 11 months. The 12th month hasn't come out yet. We've been that long enough. But in 11 months, $18 trillion. So that's 18 times more. But think of it. It's really almost 100 times more if you really multiply it out properly. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Congratulations. Core inflation has dropped to a 5-year low, and I tell you, the only thing, we got a little raise with gasoline. It's going to come down lower than what it was. Don't forget, we had that gasoline down to $2 and below $2 in many cases. It's going to come tumbling down. There is so much oil out there. It's pent up. It's locked up in the Strait of Hormuz, a beautiful place. It's, I think they have close to 400 ships loaded up with oil. When all of that gets released, when all of that comes out, these people tried to hold up our country for years and years, the world, by closing up the Strait of Hormuz. When all of that stuff comes out, you're going to see prices dropping on gasoline like you've never seen, and all of that, electricity, gasoline, anything having to do with energy. Grocery prices are way down. Used car prices are way down. Look at eggs. Eggs are down by 4, even 5 times. Remember when I took over, eggs were so high? Remember my first news conference as president of second term? 2 days in, I said, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions? What about eggs? I said, what? Egg prices are 4 times higher than they were a year ago. I said, I just got here. I've only been here for a day and a half. And we had a problem with eggs. The prices were through the roof. I got them down to now they're lower than they were at the lowest point 4 years ago. Think of that. But I got them down. Does anybody write about it? No. That's why I like doing speeches. You know, they don't write about it, so I do speeches. That way I can talk about it. Sometimes you got to do it yourself. Earlier this year, I directed Fannie and Freddie to buy, you know what that is? Well, where's Bill? Where's Bill Pulte? He's around here someplace. He's done what a great job. He's created $1 trillion value. Look at him over there. He's jumping. Smart guy. During my first term, I was offered, sounds like a lot of money, but it's very little compared to what, less than $100 million to buy Fannie and Freddie. And I said, nope, I don't want to sell it. Don't sell it. They wanted to sell it so badly. And now it's worth over $1 trillion. If I would have sold it, I would have felt like a schmuck, you know, to be honest. It's worth over $1 trillion. What is it, about $1 trillion now, right? He says higher. No, we could have sold it. We could have given it away for nothing, practically nothing. So I directed Fannie and Freddie to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds, bringing interest rates plummeting down from nearly 8% under Sleepy Joe and 6% even lower. And don't forget, we had a hostile Fed. We had a guy, too late. We call him too late. He's too late with interest reductions. Jerome Too Late Powell. We had I haven't figured out, is he a bad guy or a dumb guy? But it doesn't matter. The end result, he's either dumb, bad, maybe he's a combination of both. But in any event, because rates, we would have had them even lower, but we've done great considering that we're fighting. Now we have a great Federal Reserve chair coming in, and he's going to be fantastic, Kevin Warsh. We've reduced the annual cost of a typical new mortgage by $4,000. Think of that, $4,000 a year after decades of other countries stealing our jobs and plundering our wealth, taking advantage of our country like we're a bunch of fools. Thanks to our strong policy on tariffs, I love those tariffs. We cut our gaping trade deficit by 55% this year alone. So we had a trade deficit with massive when I took over. And if you cut it by 1%, 2%, you're considered like a genius. I cut it by 55%. And next year is even better. And that's despite the Supreme Court making me do the tariffs a different way. I cannot believe they did that, but they did it. They shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't matter. I'm doing it a different way, a little more work, a little more time. Pay back $159 billion of the money that you got in. But we're doing it. It's actually very solid. It's 100%, can't be challenged. And we informed the very beautiful country of Germany that because of the fact that they and other European nations have not adhered to our trade deal. They haven't adhered to our trade deal. We have a trade deal that Scott and me and Howard and all our great people, Jameson, we all did a great trade deal, but the European Union has not adhered to it. So we've increased the tariffs on all cars coming into the United States by 25% and trucks. Knowing that if Mercedes and BMW and the truck companies and all of the people out there that send stuff in and didn't pay anything for years, they ripped us off, they took our jobs away from us. Not anymore, it's the opposite. They're all coming back. You know, factories are pouring back into our country, but they're all coming back. But we informed them that we're going to charge them, we're going to increase their tariff to 25%, knowing that if they build their plants in the United States, there is no tariff. They have to hire our great American workers, and there is no tariff. Think of it. And we've added now, we are now building AI plants, all of everything. But we have part of that $18 trillion. But we have more construction going on in what they call plant and equipment than we've ever had before, and car plants. We had a period of time that for 25 years we didn't build one plant. They took our car industry away. It went to Germany, Japan, Mexico, Canada. It went to the European Union like crazy. Germany, think of it. It went to the European Union. We went for a period of almost 30 years with barely building a plant. Now we're building more plants for cars and trucks than we've ever built in the history of our country, including prime time from many years ago. They're all coming back because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. Very simple. They don't want to pay tariffs. If you don't want to pay tariffs, that's fine. Build your plant here. Build it in Florida. I don't think of you too much as, you don't need the cars, but build it in Florida. Any place in the United States is okay with me, but they're building them all over our country. We added 186,000 private sector jobs in March. Jobless claims just hit the lowest level since 1969. Think of it, jobless claims. So, since 1969. The lowest level since 1969. And more Americans are working today, as I said, than at any time in the history of our country by far. It's not even close. And with our no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, we're doing something that has never been done. And the consumer, which is you have more money to spend than you have in many, many decades. Very importantly, for our great seniors, I hate to mention this, it's so negative. It's called the estate tax, because nobody in this room will ever die. But just in case you should, if you have children that you love, it's very important. If you don't love your children, then it doesn't matter too much. Who cares? Oh, I know some that won't leave their kids. They hate their kids, but, these are bad people. They're usually very wealthy, too. I don't know what that's all about. But we have no inheritance tax. We have no death tax. Who really it affects is the farmer, the small farmers, medium-sized farmers. They're called land-rich, cash-poor. That beautiful land, it's very valuable, but they don't make tremendous income. And they die, they leave it to their children. Their children goes out to the local banker, borrows money to pay the tax because the tax was 50% and more. And they end up losing their farm. In many cases, they love their life. They commit suicide. It's a crazy thing. They lose their whole life and they commit suicide. There's no more of that. So when you die, you leave your farm or your small business to your children. You have no estate tax. You have no death tax. I think that's a big deal. To me, that's a big deal, right? Byron, that's a good one, right? That's good. You want to lead your way of life. You don't want to be forced to sell your farm. Sometimes you can't sell your farm for what they think it's worth, and you have nothing but trouble. What a problem it was. You don't have to worry about it anymore. We made interest on new car loans tax deductible, but only if you buy a car that's made in America. Otherwise, we couldn't care less. That's a big deal. So that you go out and you borrow money to buy a car, and you paid interest, now you get a deduction. That's like 40, 50%. It's like a phenomenal thing. You get 100% deduction on interest. So the interest payments that you make to the bank for the car loan, you're able to deduct that from income tax. Now, it has to be made in America. So go buy American cars or cars that are made in America. And we also created the brand new Trump accounts, along with a really fantastic family, the Dell family. Have you used their computers recently? Susan and Michael Dell, they're amazing people. He put up $6.25 billion. A lot of people said, I'm going to match him on the 250, but even the 250 is a lot. Think of it. He was the first one. He bought $6.25 billion of these accounts for children all over the country. And it was just announced this morning that it's setting records, so that, when your beautiful baby, we have an automatic $1,000 contribution for every newborn child, and it allows everyone to contribute to a tax-free savings account for your grandchildren. A lot of people are buying it for their grandchildren to benefit them, so that after they turn 18, they could have $100,000, $125,000, $150,000, depending on what goes on. And they can be sort of rich. And it's an amazing thing, and it's like a wildfire. It's doing so great, right, Scott? It's been really an amazing thing. And with us today is a grandmother who lives in the Villages named Mary Alice. After a long time in the Michigan real estate and automobile industry, she and her husband retired to the Villages. And thanks to our great, big, beautiful bill, I love that bill. You know, we have 4 years worth of stuff. That's why we call it the great, big, beautiful bill. We were going to have 19 separate bills. And I said to Mike Johnson, John Thune, I said, fellas, the Speaker of the House, head of the Senate, I said, let's try for one big, beautiful, because I don't know, these Democrats are crazy. And it was early. We had a little bit of a honeymoon, just a little tiny bit. I said, let's see if we can get everything in one bill. And everyone said, no way, you're not going to do it. It's the greatest, it's the biggest thing ever passed in the history of our country, the great, big, beautiful. And it's mostly, it should be called the great, big, beautiful tax cut bill. But also we have tremendous regulatory cuts, and that's why your jobs are so good, because all of these people, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, everything, they're able to take regulations with a little bit of a grain of salt. It's not going to put you out of business. There are tremendous regulation cuts, and it's really been amazing. So they just received a tax refund of double the size of anything that they've ever gotten. Think of this, Mary Alice, for years she's gotten peanuts, and now she's gotten a tax of double the size, and in many cases 4 or 5 times the size of anything she ever got before. So Mary Alice is now considered a rich person. Come on up, Mary Alice, say a few words. Come on up. Oh, look at her. She looks good. She's a rich woman. Come on, Mary.
Thank you, President Trump. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Hey, wait, let me get this out. You want me to get that out? Wait.
Oh, yeah, because I'm really short.
You can, I think you'll be good.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank President Trump for everything he's done for all of us. And the big, beautiful bill helped my husband and I so much this year. We were so shocked when we picked up our tax return and the accountant told us how much money we were getting back. We were just thrilled. It was double what we thought we would get. We ended up using some of that money to pay for a new roof. Now, we all know we live in Florida and we all need roofs. So we were able to use some of that money for the new roof, and we're thrilled that we were able to do that, and we didn't deplete our savings account. So and this is all because of the no tax on Social Security. And, you know, we live on an income that's fixed. And so we have to be careful how we spend our money. And thanks to President Trump and his administration, we've been able to live a great life here in Florida. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, President.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, darling. Come on. Be careful. Grab that railing. Thank you. Wow. That's better than I can do, I'll tell you right now. No, it's a great story. Thank you, Mary Alice. You're really something special. Thank you. Congratulations. But never forget, every single Democrat in Congress voted against no tax on Social Security. They voted against it, every single one. We didn't get one vote positive because they're just like a sick unit of people. Just like the State of the Union speech. I introduced people, the mother of somebody who was slaughtered by an illegal immigrant that came in, slaughtered so horribly, and please stand up. And the mother stands up. She's beside herself. The Democrats are sitting here. They didn't move. They're just sitting here. No. They're sitting here long fast. The Republicans are going crazy. They're screaming, and they love, you know, they love the woman that they wouldn't clap, or the helicopter pilots that did so well in Venezuela, a great, incredible military achievement. And he was shot in the legs, bringing down a lot of men in the helicopters, a big Chinook. Then he was shot in the legs, and you operate those things with the legs more than anything else. And he was very badly hit hard in the legs, and he brought that helicopter down, and then he says, "Take over, because I'm going to be passing out now," after it was perfectly landed in exactly the location they had to be. Otherwise, we could have had a problem like Jimmy Carter had. You remember that problem with helicopters crashing back and forth? It was not good, but that was Venezuela. How good did that work out, right? And we introduced him, handsome guy, beautiful looking guy. We introduced him. We gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor. That first time it's ever been done at a State of the Union. We gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor, and the Democrats sat there like a bunch of dead people. They didn't move. And I called them out. I said, "You people are crazy. There's something wrong with you." But they voted against income tax cuts for seniors. They voted in favor of the largest tax hike in the history of our country. They wanted the largest tax hike in the history of our country. They also created the catastrophic inflation that I told you about, worst really in our history. If congressional Democrats had their way, Florida seniors would be paying higher taxes, higher prices, while Republicans have given you much lower taxes, much lower prices. You know, I use the word affordability, but I was the one that received these high prices. You know, it's amazing. I come into office and I say, "Wow, look at how high these prices are." And the Democrats start screaming, "Affordability, affordability." They're the ones that caused the problem. I'll tell you one thing. They got one good line of bullshit. That's one thing I'll say about it. They are so bad. They are so bad. It's true. Affordability. It's the first time I heard the word. I'm 2 days in, and I watch this sleazebag, one of these crazy congressmen, get up, and he's being interviewed. He said, "Affordability, prices are too high." I've just got there. But we brought prices way down. They gave us tremendously high prices, and they'll give them to you again. They take over. You have to get out and vote in the midterms, because they'll give them to you again. And we're pleased to be joined today by some of those great warriors from the House and Senate, including someone who is representing your great state really well. And I introduced her just briefly before, but she's fantastic. She's a great person, a great senator, Ashley Moody. Thank you for being here, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. And I also want to introduce Randy Fine, who's back there, Kat Kamek, who's over here, Daniel Webster, who, by the way, is retiring. I don't like that. Where's Daniel? You're around here someplace. Daniel, stand up, Daniel. What a career. He's retiring. And I know we have a good Republican taking your place, if that's possible to take your place. Thank you, Daniel. Great career. We appreciate it. Long time. How many years? Long time. He's been there a long time. A great gentleman. And a man who never stops fighting for the state of Florida. I know it. He is a fighter. Byron Donalds. Byron. Special. Special guy. Thank you. Thank you. He's so far ahead in the polls, I don't have to ask him to come up. I would ask him, but when you know, my theory is when you're up by more than 20 points, I don't want to waste the time. Okay, is that all right? He's killing him. Another great friend of mine, Florida Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, who's running and going to be great. He's a great guy. And the Florida CFO, Blas Ingolia. Blas, where are you? Yes, Blas, thank you. Thank you, good job. We're also joined by very much of a legend. He's really an amazing guy. He straightens you out mentally. Probably has his own problems, but we don't have to know about that. But we've all grown up watching him. I've watched him for so many years. I did a show before the election, and I thought I was sort of doing him a favor by doing him the show. I said, I'm hotter than he is. Why the hell should I do a show? But I did it, and I have never had such a response as I had on that show. Where's Dr. Phil? Are you here? Come here. Come here, Dr. Phil. No, I did his show. Wow. Come on up here, Dr. Phil. Get up here. Give them a little lecture, but very short. Give them a little lecture on life. Talk about life for 2 minutes or less.
Well, hello. I had a different reaction than the president when I told my wife I was coming to the villages. She said, oh, no. No. Not without me, you're not. Those people are crazy partiers. She says, Robin says, give you her love. She really wanted to be here, but we have grandchildren, so I'm now 5th in line. By the way, Mr. President, I've given that cognitive test that he took. I used to administer those, where you give them 9,000 divided by 2, 6, 7. I recall one guy did that about the president's age. Took about 6 minutes to go through it. I said, so what's your answer? He said, a small wire-haired terrier. So great that he got that done. No kidding. Listen, I really do want to take a chance to talk about this a little bit, because what the president is doing here is really something you got to think about differently. He's restoring trust between Americans and the government, because you understand you understand that this was, your benefits were never supposed to be taxed to begin with. That was the deal the American government made with the American people. And from 1935 until 1983, that was the deal. And then they changed the deal. That wasn't what you started with. That wasn't the deal. And President Trump is trying to bring the deal back and say you can trust your government to do what they tell you they will do. President Trump is fighting to restore trust between Americans and the government. And he's trying to right a wrong here. One of the things that President Trump does is he tries to solve problems that nobody else is even working on. They're not even working on this stuff, and he's solving those problems. He's solving the problems other people, they're not even working on. This taxation is double. It's double taxation. Workers pay their 6.2% with after-tax dollars, and then are taxing them again, which is patently unfair. You're paying taxes twice. And he's not willing to say that. And seniors are vulnerable because you have fixed incomes and no ability to earn your way out of a broken tax promise for a tax burden. And he's fighting for that, so you don't have to do that. And I think everybody should recognize he's fighting for something you can't fight back for. And that is so important. And it's really critical that this simplifies everything. And you know, people will say, well, it's going to cost money. That was the deal. That was why they changed the deal. It didn't have anything to do with taxes. It had to do with trying to increase revenue. If we'll just let him go track down the fraud money, it'll more than pay for this 10 times over. It will more than pay for this to stop the fraud in America. Stop the fraud in America. And here's a little reminder. Here's a little reminder in case your mind is playing tricks on you. You matter. You are important. And you are important to this president. I know him, and you are important to this president. And I will tell you a quick story. We win. The end. You know, I've spent most of my life, certainly as a professional, actually since I was 12 years old, studying why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. And I can tell you that in studying that, I have found out what makes people champions. And I know what makes him a champion. I can tell you, people that are champions play the game with passion. They play the game with passion. They surround themselves with like-minded people who understand why they feel so strongly about what they do. They tell themselves the truth. They deal with the truth when it comes up. And I didn't come down here just to stand up and say a few things and get a little golf clap from everybody and say, nice speech. I wanted to come down here because I want you to remember what I'm saying about President Trump and not getting taxed on your Social Security benefits and about his leadership. I want you to remember that on May 1st, the bald guy came up and told you that this is important and we've got midterms coming up and you need to make sure that not only you vote, but find 10 people and make sure that they vote. Because we have a president that stopped apologizing for America and started taking pride in this country. I don't want you to just hear me. I don't want you to just hear me and give me a little golf clap. I want you to hear me and say, on this day, we decided we are marching for the USA. We are marching for the USA, and we are marching for this president. March for the USA. March for the USA. Thank you, guys.
That was a good job. Thank you, Phil. That was great. So just in finishing up, I just want to say, Phil, that was fantastic. Thank you. So true. You weren't supposed to be paying those taxes, but now you're not. So today we delivered the huge win for our great fishermen and anglers here in Florida. I don't know how many people fish. Does anybody fish? We've just officially approved something they've been looking for a long time, all state permits for the 2026 red snapper recreational season. For years, our great fishermen have been punished with very short federal fishing seasons despite record high fish populations, and the states are begging, they're just begging, and the people are begging to get going. We want to go fishing, and the incompetent Biden administration tried to shut down the oceans for our fishermen. We love and respect our fishermen. Unlike the Democrats, we'll only do them good. So to all of those who fish red snapper and other fish, Trump and Noah are delivering for you, so just enjoy it. We're all set. It's all done. You got fish. If you catch some extra fish, enjoy it. We've got plenty of fish. There are a lot of fish in the ocean. I don't know where they came up with that one, but there's a lot of fish. You know, the environmental catastrophes that they've done to this country is just terrible. Starting on day one, we took the most dangerous, unsafe, violent, and open border and created the most secure border in the history of the United States of America, with 0 illegal aliens having come into our country in the last 11 months. 0. In 2025, we achieved the largest drop in the murder rate ever recorded. I hate to even say it. It sounds like sort of terrible, but think of it, the murder rate. Who talks about that? But crime has gotten so bad during the Biden administration. It was the largest number of murders that we've ever had. Now we had the lowest number of murders in our country in 125 years. Think of that. All the way back to 1900. We cut the flow of fentanyl across the border by 63%. Think of that. And it doesn't come in at all by water. I wonder why. By water, we're down 97%. And we're all looking for the 3% because we consider them the bravest people anywhere in the world. You saw what we had to do. For years, they would get a boat, they'd bring them in, they'd book them and they'd let him go, and he'd go back, and they'd go back to wherever they came from in South America. They'd be taking a boat in the next day. No, we stopped it. It was enough. We're down 97% in fentanyl by sea. Think of that. And we unleashed American energy with those beautiful words, those gorgeous words that probably helped me get elected. It's lucky we have all that oil because we're selling a lot of it now. Those ships are coming up instead of the Hormuz Strait. They're coming up. Those ships are coming up by the hundreds. They're loading up in Texas, Louisiana, Alaska. But we had those beautiful words. We have plenty of oil. We have more oil. We have double the oil. If you add up Saudi Arabia and Russia, we're more than double what they produce together. Think of that. The words are drill, baby, drill. And as you can see, we rebuilt our great military in my first term and spent over $1 trillion of investment over the last very short period of time. And despite the fact that they embarrassed us in Afghanistan by leaving a lot of equipment behind, those fools, but it was still a lot of equipment, but not a lot compared to what we did. But we rebuilt it during my first term and my first year. And I didn't know we'd have to use it this much, but if you look at what we've done, I mean, Venezuela is considered one of the greatest military movements in history. There's never been anything like it. And frankly, we're doing just about as well in Iran, but I don't like talking about it until the jobs are finished. Let's not talk about anything until it gets finished. But think of it, their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their whole place is gone, and then we get people to say that we're not winning. You know, we get the radical left to say, we're not winning, we're not winning. They don't have any military left. It's unbelievable. It's actually, I believe it's treasonous. Okay, you want to know the truth? It's treasonous. So we rebuilt our military. We have the greatest military anywhere in the world, and we've proven that. In Venezuela, we're proving it right now in Iran. They're looking at this saying, what the hell is this? This should have been done, Iran, by other presidents long before me, and it should have been done by other countries, too. And we got no help from NATO. We got no help, zero from NATO. You know, we spent trillions of dollars on NATO. We got no help. We didn't need it, but we got none. I said, would you like to come? Yeah, you're fired. He said, fire him. No, they know they got problems. No, it was a paper tiger. We got critical race theory out of our schools. We abolished DEI all across our federal government. Our people are prospering again. Our country is winning again, and America is respected again, perhaps respected more right now than ever before. And if you go back 1 year, 1.5 years, we were a laughingstock all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. The whole thing was ridiculous. Couldn't walk upstairs or downstairs. Now, I'm very careful when I say this, because there'll be a day when I may go down, and I don't want to be too strong on that, because if it happens, I want to just pop up and say, hi, everybody, how you doing? But he fell excessively. He fell more than any human. I think he set a record, most falls in history. Nah, he was a laughingstock. The falls were the least of it. He was an absolute, what they did to our country. I'm telling you, we wouldn't have a country. We couldn't have stood another year of it. With the borders. Our borders were being, that wasn't people coming, that was an invasion of our country. 11,888 murderers, 50% of which, more than that, killed more than one person. These are the people they allowed into our country. The good news is we're getting them back, and we're getting them out. We're getting them out. And I want to thank Border Patrol, and I want to thank ICE for the abuse that they have to take from the Democrats. That's nice. They'll be happy to hear that. That's very nice. Very Thank you. They'll be happy to hear that. They watch. I mean, ICE, the job they have, Border Patrol, the job they have. Think of it, the border, 11 months, 0 people came through our border. 0. And those charts are made up by Democrats. They don't even try. The answer is, that used to be thousands, hundreds of thousands of people lined up trying to break into our country. Now there's nobody. You have these plazas, there's nobody in them. They don't, because they know they're not coming in. But the job that Border Patrol and ICE, and then they get ridiculed and defunded. They will defund your police. If they had free reign, the Democrats will defund your police. We cannot. This is what they're doing with ICE. This is what they're doing with Border Patrol. With the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, we will pass the great health care plan, stop all payments to big insurance companies, and give the money directly to the people to buy their own health care, which will be a much better health care at a much lower price than ours. You're working on that. It's one of the most popular things. The problem is the Democrats will not vote for it because they're owned by these big insurance companies. They're owned, lock, stock, and barrel. We want to pay the money not to the insurance company, but to the people directly to the people, a health savings account, directly into that account, and you go out and buy your own much better health insurance at a much lower cost. Money left over will crush violent crime. We have done an unbelievable job on crime. Impose harsh new penalties for repeat offenders, crack down on Marxist prosecutors, rogue judges, and end deadly sanctuary cities, which is basically only to protect criminals. It's a sanctuary for criminals. And we will end one of the worst things that's happened in our country. It's just absolutely hurt our country so badly. No cash bail. They go in, they murder somebody, they're out on the street in another 15 minutes after going into a court. No bail, no cash bail as a disaster. We'll end it, and we will defend America's borders. We'll pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American election. Because all voters must show voter ID, all voters must have proof of citizenship. And there will be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And we will also enshrine in permanent law no men in women's sports. And did you ever hear of something like that? I'm just, as I say it a lot. Can you imagine 15 years ago saying that? There will be no men in women's sports. People would say, he's crazy. There's something wrong with that guy. It's a real fight. I watched one of these local congressmen the other day saying, we must have men in women's sports. The whole thing is crazy. You ever see the weightlifting records? It's like a 112-pound difference. A record stands for 19 years. And a woman, great athlete, beautiful woman, slightly muscular, slightly, a little bit more than normal, but she's a great weightlifter and stood for 19. They put an eighth of an ounce on one side of the barbell, an eighth of an ounce on the other. She's going for Olympic gold, and she wants to qualify. It's easy. It's going to be easy. She's better than the other women. And she gets up and she works and she works, and my wife hates when I do this. My wife, our great first lady, how about it? She's a movie star now. Can you believe it? Terrible. I don't know if I'm happy about that or sad about that. But no, she had the #1 movie. You saw that, Melania. And then it was #1 streaming, and I said to her, no family can have 2 stars. What do you think about that, Dr. Phil? No family can have 2 stars, Dr. Phil. This is not a good situation. I don't like it. Dr. Phil would tell me I'm right, but don't say it. No, she's done a great job, but she hates it when I do the thing on weightlifting. She says it's so unpresidential. And she hates when I dance, too, at the end, too. She hates when I dance to what's sometimes referred to as the gay national anthem. You know that. She hates it. You know, that song was #5 32 years ago, and it went to #1 32 years later. There's never been anything like it. It never hit #1. It was number 5 32 years ago, and it went to number 1 for months during the last months of the game. We love that song. But she goes, darling, please. You know, she's a very elegant woman. She goes, darling, please don't dance. It's not presidential. I said, it may not be presidential, but I'm leading by 20 points in the polls or something. But she particularly hates the image of me showing sweat and strain of the young woman trying to win the weightlifting contest against a group of women and one gentleman who decided to go on to the other side. He transferred to the other side. And transgender anyone? And she got up. And her mother was down there. Oh, her mother was so proud with the American flag, a little American flag, like you remember George Foreman, the great George Foreman, had that little tiny flag when he went. She had one of them too, and she was screaming for her child, who was a weightlifter, a real good one. And she got up, and she grabbed it. She grabbed it. Oz is a big physical fitness guy, and she got it. Come on, baby, you can do it. The mother's screaming. The father didn't care because he doesn't believe that his daughter can beat the person that's coming up next. The father's saying there's no way she's beating that guy. So she gets up and and she's ready. Now she's just got to do that fun. She's almost home. 1/8 of a pound more on each. 1/8, just a tiny little bit. Come on, darling. The mother's screaming like crazy. Darling, I love you, darling. Mom, I can't do it. Well, couldn't do it. She failed. She was devastated. And then a young lady comes up, who was a young man just a little while ago. And he was actually a very poor, he was a weightlifter, but he was at one of the worst in the country. He was the lowest rung, about as low as you can get. So he transferred over to the other side. And he stood over that big barbell, and he looked at it. The guy could have lifted another 150 pounds. The whole thing is crazy, okay? But the Democrats want men to play in women's sports. And I won't go into swimming or anything else, but the whole thing is ridiculous. And we want no transgender surgery and mutilation of our children. So with the help of everyone in the villages, I only got 97% of the vote. You know, we're still looking for that 3% also. Could all of those that voted for, don't forget, I had to run against 2 candidates. One was Sleepy Joe, and then he petered out. You know, typically when you're 30 points down, you're not going to win. Think of it. It's like you're in a fight. UFC, the great Dana White, you're in a fight. The fighter's being just absolutely killed, and they take him out, give you another guy to beat. That's not. So they gave me another guy by the name of Kamala. And they said she'll have a 6-week honeymoon period, and then they'll get to know her. And it's true. Remember, she had a little honeymoon period, and she wouldn't do interviews. She wouldn't do. I said there must be something wrong with her. Why wouldn't she do even favorable interviews like Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil would have done an interview. I don't know if he would have been so nice to her. Actually, he might have been tough. He might have been tough on her, Phil. But so then I had Kamala. We beat Kamala by a landslide. Think of it. We won every swing state. We won all 7. They said Trump could win 3 swing states and still win the election. He's leading by so much he could win. We won all 7 swing states. We won the Electoral College in a landslide. We won the popular vote by millions. We won the popular. You know, I hated the first time. We won the popular vote the first time, too, by a lot, by millions. But they had me down a little bit in the popular vote, and they'd always introduce me. Donald Trump, who lost the popular vote. This is the way I got to always introduce. That's why I said, I got to win the popular vote. You know, it's all about the Electoral College. But every time they introduced me, they'd say, ladies and gentlemen, a man who lost the popular vote, but he's president. This is the way I got introduced, you know? So I said, I don't like that. So we won the popular vote by a lot. With all their cheating, that was That was popular vote AC. You know what AC means? After cheating. We still want it. Because they cheat like hell. That's what they do best. They cheat on elections. Look, if they did, in all fairness to them, if they didn't cheat, it would be impossible to win. You don't win when you have open borders, when you have men and women's sports, when you have the transgender, think of this, transgender mutilization of your children. Oh, please vote for me. I'm all in favor of transgender mutilization of your child. You don't win the kind of things, weak on crime, high on taxes. They voted against all of these tax cuts that we got you. They voted against. They didn't vote against because they thought they were doing something good. They voted against because I was in favor. Anything I'm in favor, I'm telling you, I'm going to run a much different campaign. I'm going to oppose all of those things that are really, really good. We're going to win. We're going to get such Democrat support, you're not going to believe it. They have no clue. But we're going to keep on fighting for American seniors. We've done more for the senior than any other person ever in this office. And we're going to keep on winning for America. We'll honor 250 years of independence, liberty, and freedom. We have it coming up. And we've made our country great. You know, we'll never, ever disrespect MAGA, Make America Great Again. But, you know, when you think about it, make America great again, America is now great. So to say make America great again, but I'm still not getting rid of MAGA. We're not getting rid, because MAGA is the greatest slogan, the greatest branding, the greatest anything in the history of politics of any country. You remember last time, because we were doing so well, I had a potential slogan, keep America great. So instead of make America great again, it was keep America great. Here's the problem, CAG. I said, that doesn't work, CAG. And I just couldn't get away. And then I did polls. Would you rather have MAGA, Make America Great Again, or CAG? Keep it. And everyone says, we want MAGA, we want MAGA. But what we do have is a new kind of a thing. It's America is back, and that's really true. America is back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. It's back bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And just to put it in some words that you've heard before, together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America, Dr. Oz, healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. The villages. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you all.
You can go, I said, young man, when you're short on